Layer 1.
TouHou 4Chan lore. TouHou, also known as the TouHou Project, is a bullet hell shoot-'em-up shmup with anime visuals following the stories of yokai spirits who are anthropomorphized as females and Mikos, shrine priestesses. With the first release in 1997 and still going strong till this year, 2023, it's a media juggernaut in Japan and has a strong foothold in the US, but nowhere near as big as Japan's. Having an anime aesthetic and being a video game, it would grow a strong otaku following, which would follow it over here overseas, where there's also a large weeb fanbase for TouHou. Since going over the lore would be far too much in this entry, that's already gonna be super long, let me just fire off popular memes that came from 4chan, or at least ones that made it overseas via 4chan. But just let it be known that /V video game and /JP Japan were the places to be to talk about TouHou in the early days of 4chan. And just like Fate and Neon Genesis Evangelion with a lot of exposure the West had with TouHou was had in 4chan. Anyways, let's start with some popular memes that originated from 4chan about TouHou. Firstly is Please Remember Happy Day, which I feel like most people know. This was originally posted on December 17th, 2012 on /JP, and it was originally posted with Raimu, the main protagonist of the first game of TouHou, and the post went as follows. Please remember that when you feel scared or frightened, never forget times when you feel happy. When day is dark, always remember Happy Day. That post wouldn't go viral. It was actually a repost of that would go viral, featuring a different character, Yuka Kazami, and it got popular because a YouTuber, Project SNT, voiced it, and it went viral after that. Angry dog noises. I'm sure you've seen this one if you're within the anime community and you met some annoying anime fan. No offense. The origin is from a fan comic about TouHou, Murenji Iniki Matome, in which a character calls another character, Kyoko Kasodani, cute, and she responds with an angry pouty face and says, "I'm not cute." This would also be posted on the JP board of 4chan, with the words edited out, and it was just the image. And the caption for the post was "What Doggy Says." The image would make its way to Facebook, where someone would replace the blank text bubble with angry dog noises, and that would basically be the whole meme. A woo. This is in reference to a character, Momiji Inubushari, which is like a half woman, half dog spirit thing. This one actually comes from S4S, also known as Shit 4chan Says. And basically, something that followed this character around from Japan was the Wan meme, which is basically just the Japanese onomatopoeia for bark for dogs. This would make its way back to the States, but one day on February 9th, 2014, that meme would kind of morph when on S4S someone posted a picture of the character Momiji howling, and another user asked for "Posty a woo one," and that would basically become her new catchphrase within the States. And now whenever people posted pictures of her, it would always have the less than symbol in a woo, which was literally the whole meme. It was just a picture of her howling in a woo. I really don't have much more to add to this. Honk Honk, which I would argue is probably the most famous one, comes from a 4-panel comic featuring TouHou character Shen riding a bike, and she hits the bell and goes honk honk. Basically, someone on the JP board of 4chan would cut out the context for the honk honk on the panel and just had that singular image of Chen hitting her horn, and people would start replying with just honk 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 honk, and that literally was just a meme. It just became a massive meme. Like from there, people started modding the character of Chen and her little bicycle into GTA San Andreas. That would be posted on YouTube, and the character was just riding, doing tricks, hitting her horn, making it go honk honk. This really nothing meme grew massive. And the meme would grow even more massive when 3D CG animations of the honk honk meme came out on YouTube, garnering hundreds of thousands of views, skyrocketing the popularity of the meme. And the last one I'll be talking about is emoting Moku. Moku is a character from the TouHou project, and an artist that goes on Twitter by Jokan Ihyo. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, so I'll just spell it out. JOKANIHYOU would draw several images of Moku doing different actions. They were basically just reaction images, and people from 2chan would take them, use them, and that would come over to the JP board on 4chan. One of these reaction images that first got very popular was the "My Sadness Very Big" one, which I'm sure you've seen. That would actually leave 4chan and even make it to Twitter, and those would start going viral on Twitter themselves, as well as Reddit. And honestly, that's basically it. The artist would get in some controversy when he drew a Moku in Crusader armor saying do his vault, but that's more of like a Twitter thing. We're talking about 4chan. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I missed some, and I'm pretty sure I didn't explain them completely the way TouHou fans would have wanted me to explain them, but you could just let me know in the comments how much I fucked up, so yeah.
I got beaten up by a 10-year-old. What should I do? I'm 19 years old, the one getting choked out in the pig. Basically what happened is, I was hanging out with my friends when this kid ran over my foot with his bike. He claimed by accident, so I called after him and told him to clean the dirt off my shoes. He refused, so we got ready to fight. So my friends started recording it, and as you can see by the screenshot below, he got his legs around my neck and started squeezing like crazy. I tapped out and told him that I gave up verbally, but he didn't let go, and so my friends weren't breaking it up. He said that if I said I was a bitch into the camera, then I would let go. Every time I said it though, the kid would just be like, say it clear, or say it in a full sentence. Until I realized he just wasn't letting go and I got knocked out, then pissed myself. My question is, how in the hell couldn't I escape from this move in the pig? His legs were tiny, but I couldn't budge them at all. They felt like steel beams. What happened? Also, the kid took his shirt off after, and he had a freaking six-pack. How the fuck is that possible when he's 10 years old? OP, you lost no matter what. You got into a fight with a 10-year-old. There are only two ways that this will end. You are a 19-year-old that beat up a 10-year-old, or a 19-year-old that got beat up by a 10-year-old. Yeah, this one was pretty funny when I first found it, and it's still pretty funny now, so I added it onto the iceberg.
Yukkuri. This is a TouHou related thing. You see, sometime on 2chan, which is the Japanese image board that 4chan was based off, people were trying to make ASCII art of a TouHou character, Ramen. In one failed attempt to do so, someone would make a TouHou character with a really big head, and people kind of ended up liking the vibe and version of that character, and they would try to replicate it. In the evolution of the Yukkuri, the body would be completely removed, so it would only be the big ol' head, and soon fan art of the Yukkuri versions of the characters would come out, solidifying the Yukkuri meme. The name Yukkuri comes from the evolution of the meme, in which at the very beginning of the meme's life on 2chan, when someone else was making the deformed heads of the character Reimu and Marissa with the phrase Yukkuri shita ne, which translates to take it easy, but the phrase literally translates to take it Yukkuri. Obviously, by taking out the shita ne part of the sentence, you're only left with the Yukkuri part, which connotatively means slow/easy, leading to the ideas of Yukkuris being kinda stupid, and this is reflected in the meme, in which sentences said by the Yukkuri are rather simple. Now Yukkuri have a lot, and I mean a lot of lore behind them. For instance, it's widely agreed upon that they are a type of Japanese pastry known as manju. They have teeth made of sugar. Baby Yukkuri are called ko-Yukkuri. Again, as stated, they have limited intelligence at an animal level, and the idea that Yukkuri are born with their clothes on, and that if they have too many accessories, it's something to frown upon, and something other Yukkuri do not like. There's also theories for how they evolved. This was in the past when memes didn't exist for like a month, and this being from a Japanese anime shoot 'em up with waifus, of course people put a lot of care into their fan creations. I should note that these things aren't even canon to the TouHou games and literally only exist as fan creations, but there are some references to them in official TouHou media. Lastly, how is this all tied to 4chan? Well, just like other memes, while the Yukkuri didn't start on 4chan and land on the JP board of 4chan, where daily Yukkuri threads would be created, and were extremely popular. Yukkuri generals, which was what the threads were called, were a staple of /JP, at least according to the Yukkuri wiki I'm reading. I'm not 100% sure since I've never used /JP, but as I've been checking the board throughout my time writing this, for the past several days I haven't seen a single Yukkuri thread, so I don't know if the meme simply fallen off, or if like when Hiromu, the new owner of 4chan, came into place, decided that those threads weren't contributing to the conversation and decided to have them always deleted. Usually he claimed that it was because it was mainly bots only posting in the threads, constantly pushing threads to the first page of the board and just and not contributing to actual conversation between people. He did this with /A too, getting rid of daily threads of certain posts, such as the Sakura, I'll eat this whole fish, and the elephant saying Tadaima. Though I'm not sure if that's actually what happened, or again, if the threads just fell out of favor. I couldn't really find anything online saying why there weren't daily Yukkuri threads anymore.
OP proves that God is real. If this post ends in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then God doesn't exist. As you can see, this refers to the last number of his number code. I forget what that's called, my bad. And yeah, and it ended in 0. So God does exist. Then as the thread goes on, everyone just makes fun of him. Because, you know, it was pretty funny how that happened. So the OP comes back again. I'm the OP. I'm an atheist. This thread fails. No one here. But I'm not gonna delete it. God has punished me for my failure. OP here again. I'm calling it out again. 1 through 9. And God doesn't exist. This is a real roll. So yeah, again, OP decided to roll the numbers again. And again, he got 0. So God again does exist. And then he comes back again and says this. Another roll. If this post ends in 3, then God does exist. Anything else and God doesn't exist. So yeah, on this one, OP rolls again and claims that if he gets 3, then God does exist. And so he rolls, and the post number ends in 3. And then another Anon comes in and says this. I'm not OP. I'll roll. 1 through 9 means God does not exist. And this Anon got 0 as his last post number. And then OP comes back again and says this. Are you fucking kidding me? 3 times? I'll roll again. You know the drill. 1 through 9 means no God. And so he does it again and he rolls a 0. So again, God does exist. Another Anon or OP comes in, no one specifies, and says this. If this post ends in 5, God exists. And the post indeed ends in 5. So, yeah, I guess 4chan proves God exists.
The Haruhi Problem. Mathematically, what's actually known as a super permutation, one example I saw online was AB. It could be written as AB and BA. That's a permutation, but the super permutation of it would be ABA, as it covers AB and BA in one grouping. So the idea behind this was people asking from A to the Sci board, the science and math board, in what could be the most effective way to watch the anime, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. You see, the anime aired non-chronologically, purposefully so that certain moments in the anime would stick out on me more. This got the people on 4chan asking, what is the least number of Haruhi episodes that you would have to watch in order to see the original 14 episodes in every order possible? In other words, rephrasing this for mathematicians, of which I am not, what is the shortest string containing all permutations of set n elements? Well, an Anon in the thread, going by the trip code lower bounds, would provide evidence of him finding the at the time lowest bound for the question, posting 4 different times explaining how he came to the solution and his proofs of it, but still asking others to check his math. And it turned out that lower bound had done what at the time no other mathematician had been able to do, which was bring the lower bound lower than expected. This was lower bound's answer to the question. I think I have proof of the lower bound. N factorial plus open parentheses n minus 1 close parentheses factorial plus open parentheses n minus 2 close parentheses factorial equals n minus 3 for n greater than or equal to 2. Since I'm not 100% sure of what would be the best way to explain it, I couldn't really tell you what this means, but thankfully someone on Reddit summarized what it actually meant, and it was posted in a thread where people were talking about this problem being solved by 4chan. The post was written by Mr. Accurite. The title is kinda shit. The problem relates to finding a minimal super permutation for n elements, which is why, rather than finding a formula that takes n and spits out the minimal super permutation, efforts thus have worked on the basis of providing tighter and tighter bounds on how large it is. What the Anon did was to provide a lower bound than what existed in the literature at the time. It is not a partial solution, it is a complete solution that went a step further than anything known. The problem still isn't completely analytically solved, because we still don't have an actual formula for the minimum, or a proof that a formula is impossible. There's a video on YouTube called Super Permutations, the math problem solved by 4chan, about how super permutations work, and I highly recommend you watch that video, because I know the way I explained it isn't going to be enough for most people to understand, but I tried my best.
Layer 2. The Hal Turner Saga. So Hal Turner was a white supremacist talk show host from New Jersey, and on December 20th, 2006, he plans for his final radio show. During that show, he would spend 3 hours taking phone calls. 4chan and other image boards decided to spam call the show. Around 150 prank calls were made in those 3 hours. Hal Turner, after the raid, would post all the phone numbers that called him on his website. So 4chan and the other image boards got mad because some of those phone numbers belonged to minors. 160 phone calls were made to his house. Hal would eventually give in and take the numbers down. Then on Christmas, which is December 25th, 2006, he would try to spend his holidays with his father at his house. And trolls would eventually figure out the number to his father's house. After a bunch of prank calls, Hal's father would say that he supposedly kicked them out, though I'm not too sure if that's true. It could be a lie to get the trolls to stop calling the house, but again, I'm not sure. That's just what it said on the website I used. Then, on December 31st, he would again surrender to 4chan and claim that he was almost off the internet, and is salty that random people on the internet wrecked his life. On January 5th, 2007, Hal would redirect his website to the FBI website to try and deter trolls. On January 24th, he would get kicked from his data center, and while driving, he would crash his car, which is just funny. I mean, it happened. I don't know, coincidence. March 7th, Hal Turner, he would make another radio show, which would get rated again. On December 30th, 2007, he announces that he is closing his site. On January 1st, 2008, his server is hacked again, and this time hackers find an email exchange with an FBI agent showing that Hal Turner was a psyop that was meant to infiltrate the neo-Nazi movement, and this spreads fast and hard within the neo-Nazi movement. And on July 28, 2009, Hal Turner's defense lawyer confirmed that Hal Turner was in fact a paid informant for the FBI, so just letting you know that he was in fact working with the FBI. January 10th, 2008, the exchange was being talked about on neo-Nazi websites, and this made Hal Turner officially break off from the neo-Nazi movement, and he claims that he will end the show immediately. He then officially ended the Hal Turner show. January 29th, he makes an official statement on his dead website, claiming that he has no relation whatsoever to the FBI. But that was a lie. He was a paid informant for the FBI, like I said earlier. And that's pretty much the saga. There was a lawsuit between 4chan and other image boards versus Hal Turner, but that case was dismissed. If you guys would want to know more about this saga, I could make an in-depth video about the saga, but that's up to you guys. I'm not opposed to it, so yeah.
Bane Posting. I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before in another iceberg. I think it was when Brazzers Met TV. Bane Posting refers to a copy pasta / meme about the beginning of the movie The Dark Knight Rises, in which a CIA agent, whose codename or maybe real name is Bill Wilson, interrogates 3 prisoners about Bane, of which, unbeknownst to the CIA officers, Bane is among them, and some sus dialogue happens between the two. The meme originates from 4chan's TV board, when in 2011, on December 11th, the audio for the scene was leaked. Anons from the board would start memeing the lines, especially since without the visual context, some of the CIA agents and Bane's lines sound like there's some other type of tension between the two, if you catch my drift. When the movie came out and the scene was now available to the public, that only pushed the memes further, and a video uploaded by a real human being called TV Dubs The Dark Knight Rises was uploaded, which is pretty hilarious, and I recommend you watch it if you haven't. Personally, the funniest thing about the dub is the obvious clip of the guy humming the score in the background that's just looped for like 5 minutes long, and the sound effects all being replaced by people's voices. And also the fact that everyone who dubbed over Bane in the audio did so using the Bane mask voice. Another strange thing to come out of this was the fact that in 2014, an Anon would make a thread with the picture of Bill Wilson's behind from the movie scene, and that would become a meme for Shit 4chan Says and TV. Another strange thing in reference to this meme that comes up with it is meme magic. You see, on March 24th, 2015, a plane, the Germanwings Flight 9525, crashed in the French Alps near the area The Banes, and people on 8chan / Bane would notice and make connections, claiming meme magic, like the whole Kek thing. and obviously 4chan noticed this too, and it also became tied to Bane Posting.
Kekcroc. Kekcroc is an obscure video game that released in 1993 for the Sega Genesis. Not a lot is known about the game. The only real thing about it is the box art. It was apparently an unlicensed and low-effort game that was seen throughout many stores on clearance throughout the 1990s. Various screenshots have also been posted, but have not been confirmed as real. In June of 2016, the box art was posted on 4chan's /v board and later spread, due to Kek being included in the name. The box art was rumored to have been found on old archives of local game store websites, although its origin is unknown. The image is generally used as a reaction image and is most popular on 4chan's S4S board, again due to its name and crude box art. There's no videos of gameplay, descriptions of the game from Anons from V, who claimed to have played the game. The game included crude animations, jerky controls and movements, a terrible password system on the DOS port, the ability to collect crocodilers, and a location called Toasty's Castle in level 5. Kekcroc himself is depicted as a generic crocodile wearing a yellow straw hat, and the game's weapon is said to have been a toilet plunger. Another Anon, who claimed to have worked at a video game store during the 1990s, posted images of a document asking for more information on the game after seeing its box art and questioning its quality. Everything found about this video game just makes everyone think that even in 1993, it was still an obscure game. And the last / most important proof of the game's existence is a short sound clip from the game featuring a very good voice sampling for a Genesis game. And the sound clip is Kekcroc saying, "Hi, I'm Kekcroc." Here's the clip.
Hi, I'm Kekcroc.
Fuck my shit up. For this, I'm specifically referring to the Brendan Fraser just fuck my shit up, which is more commonly known as Save Brendan Fraser's Career. This would all start on February 16th, 2015, in which a thread on the /TV board of 4chan would be created with a picture of Brendan Fraser. The top of his head would be edited so that his hair was replaced with popular memes Dijan Antonio's hair, who, if you didn't know, had a really fucked up cut. Captioned on the post was, Is he gonna make it? This would quickly take off as a meme on TV, and the phrase "just fuck my shit up" would be combined with the image of Brendan Fraser. The meme would soon leave 4chan, as 8chan would make their /just board, and YouTube videos with hashtag save Brendan Fraser and unfuck his shit got more and more views. Several things would make this meme more popular, and gave it a bit more of sincerity. One was the fact that, since the 90s, Brendan had kind of fallen off as one of Hollywood's go-to celebrities, and tragically, this would later be revealed in a GQ article that Philip Burke, former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, had sexually assaulted Brendan in 2003, and in Brendan trying to speak out against him, he was blacklisted from Hollywood. There are two other events that helped drive this meme forward. One was the fact that in 2013, Brendan had a petition courts to reissue the alimony he owed his ex-wife, and another was a video uploaded to YouTube on the channel Build series, in which Brendan discussed being on the show Affair, and throughout the entire video it would seem that Brendan seemed very depressed and out of it. The reason for this was revealed in the same GQ article as mentioned earlier. It was because several days before this interview, Brendan's mother had passed away from cancer, and Brendan was still suffering from that loss during the interview. I would personally say that while the meme probably didn't start mean-spirited, for a tiny bit in the middle of its life it did become mean-spirited, but as it gained more and more popularity, I think that changed, back to more people feeling sympathy for Brendan. The meme would lose popularity over time, but people's hopes for Brendan remained, and on January 31st, 2019, Brendan would no longer have to pay alimony to his ex-wife, and /TV celebrated. Also, as we now know, thanks in large part to the Me Too movement, sexual harassment in Hollywood was no longer this open secret that you were required to go through in order to make it up through Hollywood's ranks, and the public would soon come to defend Brendan for what happened to him. And for a while now, Brendan's career has turned around and has been in several movies. Probably the most popular one he's been in since the resurgence of his career was The Well.
Anon makes ramen. Hello /CK. I see that there's a lot of different recipes for ramen here, and that there's a lot of chefs that know their stuff. I'm not really a professional chef, but I like to share my recipe on here for others to use. I call it Sweet Sunday Ramen. First, you start off with any flavor of ramen, as long as it's Maruchan brand. Okay, of course. Step 1. All ramen. Add water. It doesn't have to be fancy water, or any temperature. Just plain room temperature tap water is all I used for this. Step 2. Put ramen in microwave, on high, for 4 minutes. While you're waiting, grab the other ingredients, and throw out the packaging, including the spice packet. This is why we used Maruchan, because they have the spice packet on the side. Okay, here's the ingredients I use. Food coloring, sprinkles, nut topping or any crushed nut, marshmallows, magic shell chocolate, banana, homemade fudge, Pop-Tart, peppermint flavoring, hot fudge, caramel, vanilla pudding, frosting, whipped cream. Once the ramen is done cooking, drain the water out completely. Firstly, I'll start off with the peppermint flavoring. You just have to add a few drops. I get this might not be everyone's cup of tea, but I promise it's great, and everyone I make it for loves it. Next step, I added blue food coloring. You can add any color, but I find yellow useless, and green makes it look moldy. Anyway, next step is add honey. I use about a tablespoon. Next, I add caramel. I think this is my favorite ingredient, so I tend to add a lot whenever I make this. Next is hot fudge. This is the stuff that gives it tons of flavor. Next is the homemade fudge. I don't really have a recipe for it right now, but just take a tablespoon and add it in. Now, you microwave it for 20 seconds so the fudge melts. Stir the melted fudge and then add your nuts. Some people don't like this, so this is optional, but I like adding a Pop-Tart to it for the extra sweetness and a bit of crumble. Now crush it up and stir up. Now crush it up and stir it. Thank you. I'm glad to hear some positive feedback. It's really delicious. Now I add the pudding, because it's going to get a little thick, so the pudding makes the noodle slip around easier. Next, I peel the banana. It's best to have the banana blended, but I don't want to dirty any more dishes, so I'll mash it inside the bowl with the chopsticks. Then you add the marshmallows. Optional. Cook in microwave on high for 30 seconds to melt the marshmallows. I did not do that this time. Next, add a bunch of mini or regular sized chocolate chips. I don't prefer microwaving these because then you won't have a nice crunch in there. Next is the frosting. Any flavor works. I just used what I had. Blue raspberry. Okay, I'm stupid. I fixed the mouse. Add an Oreo as a garnish. I forgot to list this in the ingredients, by the way. Add a dollop of whipped cream. Like any sundae, add sprinkles. This is any kid's favorite part. Here's the finished product. You can also add a cherry on top, but I run out of them. What the fuck, dude? So yeah, if you ever wondered how to make a fucking, what was it, sweet Sunday ramen, bro, here it is. Hopefully the picture's good enough in the video, but Jesus Christ, bro, this concoction. Should we try it? Should Horror Highway try this? Is this guy cooking? Are we cooked? Will we be cooked if we try it? Fuck, dude.
Anon squats 100 kilos. On November 13, 2014, some Anon on the Fit board would post in anger. Well guys, I squatted for the first time and I blacked out. Now I am in the ER. I can't feel my toes. Fucking thanks Fit, you fuckwits. Other Anons, obviously intrigued by how someone squatting for the first time ended up in the ER, asked about OP's height, weight, and how much did he try to squat. OP replied, "So far, they have stuck this shit in me, and they took many x-rays. Apparently they want to inject steroids into my spine, so they might be taking me to a radiologist. I'm 6'2" and 95 kilos. I tried 100 kilos ass to grass, and before I knew it, I was in an ambulance. In the picture he posted with that reply, you could see OP wearing jean shorts. To which other Anons reply, "Were you wearing jean shorts during your workout?" And OP would respond, "Yes, and why does that matter? This board is fucking horrible. Worst advice here. And if anyone is new here, go find a personal trainer and don't learn from here." It would also later in the thread get revealed that OP was trying to squat while wearing sandals. Anyways, back to the main thing about the thread. How did OP, in his first time trying to do squats, end up in the ER? Well, you see, OP didn't quite seem to understand the advice /Fit had given him. /Fit tells people to start squatting with their body weight. What that specifically means, if you're confused, is squat with no added weight. Just use your body, then slowly as you get more comfortable with the exercise, get a bar and gradually add weight. This is normal, standard advice you hear everywhere for people starting the workout. But OP thought this meant something else. He thought that meant when you first start squatting, you should squat your body weight in actual weights. And as OP mentioned, he was 95 kilos. That means OP tried squatting 100 kilos. Since, if you don't know, a bar for weightlifting is about 20 kilos, but smaller ones do exist and weigh slightly less. And then you then add 245.4 kilo plates, then it's about 100 to 110 kilos. OP, after being made fun of because he was too stupid to properly understand what the advice actually meant, goes on to call everyone stupid and wrong. "Everyone that keeps saying body weight is just my body is wrong. I was told I should be able to do ×1 body weight, which means the weight on the bar is my body weight ×1. Anyways, the thread would end up with OP leaving and letting people know that he was being sent to a radiologist and that he had an L5S1 slip disc, and also blamed everyone on Fit for his injury. By the way, if you're wondering how much 100 kilos is in pounds, it's 220.5 pounds. Remember, this was OP's first time squatting.
Layer 3. Origin of Eyeless Jack photo. Eyeless Jack is a creepypasta, and both the moniker given to the main antagonist of the creepypasta, with the same name. So on June 7th, 2010, the photograph of Eyeless Jack was posted on N4G forums by a user named Anon. The title of this post was Nightmare Fuel, which contained images of disturbing creatures from video games. One of the images featured the original photo of Eyeless Jack, which, I don't think he was known as Eyeless Jack at the time. He purportedly found all the images that he posted on that thread on /V, or the video games board on 4chan. Now, I did try to look for the thread that contained the Eyeless Jack photo, but I could not find it, and the guy credited for the earliest known post of it claims that he got it off of 4chan, so that's why this is on here.
4chan Doomer documentary. Askia Kafra was a 21-year-old who wanted to make it big, and in trying to do so with a friend, Tavon Jakirna, they would come up with an idea, an app called Equity Shark, a crowdfunding platform that would let the public put money into startups. The issue was the funding for the platform. Trying to get the funding for the platform was a long and difficult journey for both Askia and Tavon, and after a failed journey to San Francisco and some contemplating between the two, one day on the social media platform known as Blab, Askia would get to know 3-Alarm Lamp Scooter, whose real name was Daniel Beckwith. Daniel Beckwith had lived a solitary childhood. His parents homeschooled him, and also the fact that from a young age he was very paranoid led to him living a lot of his life online, and he would visit different forums, use sites like 4chan and Reddit. On 4chan, the extent of Daniel's paranoia, as at the time he was a 26-year-old adult, would be shown on an article written in the Washingtonian by William Brennan, which is highlighted in one of his posts. "One simply needs something along the lines of a greenhouse with good air filtration to grow plants," he wrote on 4chan, "and a fallout shelter." He lived in fear of North Korea nuking the US and believed this fallout shelter would keep him alive when the bombs fell. I should note a tiny bit more about Daniel. He was a smart guy. While in college, he managed to hack into his professor's email. Not just that, but when Daniel's mother passed away, she left him with a trust that was worth $2.6 million. And with this money, he would become a day trader and soon own a house in Maryland. Okay, now back to Askia's money journey. Askia managed to entice Daniel with the idea of Equity Shark. He lent them money, though after a while the money would dry up, and then Askia and Tavon would need to find a way to pay back Daniel, while also trying to find other funding for the app. Tavon would work a regular job, but Askia would tell Daniel he would help out in the underground bunker, and the way he knew about the underground bunker was the fact that 3-Alarm Lamp Scooter was openly showing himself working on the bunker on the side lab, and after a while of silence, Daniel would agree to the deal. Daniel lived in Maryland, but lied and told Askia that the bunker he was going to work under was in the outskirts of Virginia, so Daniel had to blindfold him and drive him around for a couple of hours, usually in circles, so that Askia didn't know where the bunker was. Askia was not the first person that Daniel had hired for help, he was the second, but while working down there, he would have to use a bucket as a toilet and text Daniel for food, and sleep in a makeshift bed in the tunnels under the bunker. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm emphasizing saying the bunker like that, it's because that's what Daniel told Askia where they were. He didn't tell him it was under his house in Maryland. After a good while, Askia would begin telling his family of the conditions he was working under. His family and friends began to worry and begged him to stop going. And he did for a short while, but still needing money for his idea, he would go back, and it was on one of these visits back to the bunker, an unfortunate disaster would happen in the house. On September 9th, 2017, after Daniel went to sleep, Askia would text Daniel, "Holy shit bro, there's not power down here," and "smoke in the basement." 6 hours later, Daniel finally responds, saying there was an electrical problem and that he switched to a different circuit. Even then, this does nothing and Askia was still in the dark. Daniel does something else and everything seems fixed, but then a little while later, at around 4, Daniel's carbon monoxide detector makes a noise letting him know it's having a power failure. Daniel then goes to flip a circuit in the basement, which then leads to a sound in the kitchen. When Daniel goes back to check on the kitchen, he notices smoke coming from the floor, so once again Daniel goes to the basement, only to find it filling up with smoke. Daniel would tell investigators that he screamed for Askia, letting him know that there was a fire, and begging him to get out of the tunnel. But before too long, Daniel would leave, and Askia would not make it out of the burning building. While in the basement, Daniel claimed Askia was only feet from him, and the investigation would conclude that he did make it out of the tunnel, but along the way, making his way out of the house, tripped and succumbed to carbon monoxide poisoning, causing him to lose consciousness. Daniel would be charged with manslaughter and second-degree depraved heart murder, of which he would be found guilty. But on January 28, 2022, a Maryland court would change the conviction, lowering it to just an involuntary manslaughter, making his sentence from 9 years in prison to 10, but since he already served 5, he would be eligible for parole.
Taylor Swift is a 4chan user. Taylor Swift tickets. Eras tour. Taylor Swift tickets giveaway. Sorry about that. Just trying to boost the video in the algorithm. Anyway, this starts at November 6th, 2011. And Anon says, "Trips names my new kitten. When someone got Trips, they recommended the name Meredith. And then a day later, at least according to the screenshot that is on the screenshot, says, Meet Taylor Swift's new kitten, Meredith." There's also more cases like this. Like someone would post this. "Hi B, I'm feeling down. Please make me smile." This was posted on September 16th, 2009, with a photo of their bottom face and upper chest. The person in the photo does kind of look like Taylor, and the background of the photo is similar to the background of other photos that Taylor would post on social media. And then there's, "Hi B, ask one of the 50 most famous people on the planet anything, except my name. I took this photo the other day." So yeah, that post isn't really a concrete evidence that it's Taylor. I mean, it does say top 50 most famous people on the planet. I don't know. There's just many crazy coincidences, and I'm not sure if she does or did use 4chan, but yeah, it is notable enough to at least be on the iceberg, so I figured I should have it on here.
Sako Sanobashi. On the 21st of February 2015, a thread would be created on X. OP would ask fellow Anons what's the most fucked up thing Anons had seen on the deep web. Several replies later, some Anon would post something that would get a bit of attention. Some weird anime about naked girls stuck in a large bathroom without doors, having a philosophical debate about never getting out of the room. After losing hope and starving for some days, everything goes downhill. They just start screaming and yelling. Then they all commit suicide, either by smashing their heads on the floor or scratching their necks into bloody pieces. One girl helped the other to drown in the sink because she asked her to hold her down, because she couldn't do it. I cried myself to sleep right after watching that vid, because I just didn't even know anymore. Why would anyone draw that with such precision? It was goddamn horrifying. Looked 80ish in quality, audio too, Japanese dub, English subs, Lasted for about 30 minutes, no credits, but it seemed ripped. Voices sounded very young, and Japanese sound young in their 50s. Haven't found it or seen it again. The name of the vid was something along the lines of Go for the Punch or something. This would begin the search for the long-lost anime known as Go for the Punch or Sako Sanobashi. Soon a subreddit would be made finding any clues for the anime, as well as a Discord. There were some trolls along the way distracting people, trying to find the anime, but many believe that it would be found, and that they only had to keep looking for some indie obscure anime from the 80s. The search would go on for a while, like about 5 years. Wang would make a video about the subject, but something would happen in 2019. A thread would be created on the Sako Sanobashi subreddit, in which a user, Sako Sanobashi OP, would write basically saying that all of this was a troll gone way too far, and that Sako Sanobashi did not exist. It looks like my previous post was deleted, either by a bot or a moderator. Please don't delete this post. You don't have to believe me, but just hear me out, okay? This is a throwaway account because I know that people are gonna hate me for having led them on for so long, and to be honest, I deserve all the hate you could send my way, but I don't want it following me around on my main account. I made the original post about Go for the Punch, or as it's now called, Sako Sanobashi, as a joke. It all started when I was browsing 4chan and found a thread that was talking about the scariest things you found on the deep web, and in classic 4chan user fashion, I decided to troll a little, just for fun. I made up some cliche spoopy lost episode-ass story in like 5 minutes, and gave it an awkward sounding English title, since a lot of anime, especially low budget quality ones, have names like that. My only purpose was to troll the OP of the original thread, since he seemed pretty gullible, seeing as he was asking people about the scariest thing they've seen on the deep web and expecting a serious answer from 4chan. I had completely forgotten about all of this until just recently when Wang, who I watched religiously, uploaded a video about it. I was really shocked when I realized that he was talking about me, since I didn't think that anyone would actually believe my obvious bullshit. It was also pretty surreal that not only had my favorite YouTuber made a video about a stupid troll post that I made, but that so many people had dedicated time and effort into looking for it. Skipping forward a bit. All of this brings me to today, when I've decided to put an end to the stupid joke that has gone for far, far, far too long. I obviously don't have any evidence that I'm actually the OP, and I don't think there's any way to prove it. I can already see everyone vehemently denying that I am the OP, and continuing the search as if nothing happened. But just to clear my consciousness, Saki is fake. I made the whole thing up as a stupid troll. I don't think that anybody would actually believe me, and I couldn't even imagine that it was possible for it to blow up on this level. I know that I'm repeating myself, but I'm honestly really flattered that so many people have gathered to search for something I made up in a few minutes. I remember seeing a post just a few days ago where someone made a Discord to recreate Saki. I don't think anything will come of it, as I'm sure that people will lose interest in the project, but I would be honored if people actually made this into a real thing. The user would also post the images that the Anon who posted in the thread did, in order to give himself more credibility as the Sako Sanobashi Anon. Now, could this be a troll? Maybe, but in all honesty, I highly doubt it. I feel like if Sako Sanobashi did exist, someone would have already found more evidence of it. Plus, everyone knows the rule about 4chan. The stories and information posted here are artistic works of fiction and falsehood. Only a fool would take anything posted here as fact.
/K cum brownies. K is the weapons board on 4chan, where people talk about guns and weapons. So on September 17th, a post was made on K saying that on Saturday, September 20th, they were going to meet up at Cedar Creek Shooting Range in Georgia. The OP that made that post would say that people that are going should bring useful things like gear and eye protection, ammo, guns, bug spray, food, water, etc. Eventually, one Anon posts on the thread about how he made brownies for the meetup, and then on September 20th, after the meetup, the group would post a picture on 4chan about it. I just got back from the meetup. It was fun. No fights broke out. We all had fun shooting each other's guns. I was about an hour and a half late. Got a little lost, so I missed out on a lot of the fun, but I still enjoyed myself. We definitely have to do this again. After that thread was made, and around 4 hours later, the Anon who made the brownies would say this: I hope you guys enjoyed the brownies. They weren't pop brownies. It was protein brownies. I am now part of you guys. So there was apparently a lot of trip friends, they used a different word at the end instead of friend, at the meetup, And every Anon who saw the Brownies post is laughing because Anons generally hate Trip friends. Later on in the thread, some say, "I don't think it's fake. All the Trip friends suddenly stopped posting." So yeah, I would be pretty pissed too. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they come. Layer 4.
Jessie Slaughter. If you're not familiar with the name, I'm sure you're familiar with the popular video that's tied to the story of Jessie Slaughter. Jessie Slaughter was not the real name of the person that would become the victim of a cyberbullying harassment campaign when they were only 11. Jessie, who now goes by the name Damien, revealed a lot of what happened to them during that time period in a BuzzFeed news article, How the Internet Failed Jessie Slaughter, by Katie Notopoulos. And it all started with, at the time, young Jessie's fascination with scene culture, and famous emo band Blood on the Dance Floor's lead singer, who went by the stage name as Davey Vanity, who is his own can of worms, but for the sake of this specific video, all you need to know about him is that he has been accused of sexually assaulting minors, as well as asking young fans for their bras at shows, and for legal reasons I have to say that these are allegations, but let it be known from what I've read online, Davey Vanity, real name Jesus David Torres, is absolutely a horrible person. Anyways, Jessie would gain popularity within the scene clique on websites such as MySpace and Stickum, which was like a YouTube for emo kids. Well, when Davey asked for bras at one of his shows, he called the girls who didn't want to give him bras prudes, and Jessie was one of the people who spoke out against this online. Already being popular online and speaking out against a massively famous band's lead singer would bring a lot of notoriety towards Jessie's way. To make things worse, a gossip website known as Sticky Drama would target Jessie and accuse them of sleeping with Davey Vanity. Yeah, cause that totally makes sense. An 11-year-old could totally consent with an at the time 25-year-old. This would bring a lot more harassment towards them. After a lot of in real life and online harassment, a video with Jessie and their dad would be made, and this would become a popular meme.
Okay, you guys, this is Jessie Slaughter, and
You know
I
what?
just want to say that you guys have ruined my life.
I'm gonna tell you right now, this is from her father. You bunch of lying, no good punks. And I know who it's coming from because I back traced it. And I know who's emailing and who's doing it. And you've been reported to the cyber police and the state police.
You're
So
right.
you better write one more thing or screw with my computer again. You'll be arrested. End of conversation from her father.
You're right, it's fucking gonna come and beat her ass.
And if you come near my daughter, guess what? Consequences will never be the same. You lying bunch of pricks.
See, my house has been like this ever since everybody's been posting stuff about me, okay?
Unfortunately, this video brought even more negative attention and harassment towards Jessie and their family. What wasn't known at the time, but was revealed by Damien later, was that Gene Leonhardt, the father of Jessie/Damien, was physically abusive, and this harassment campaign targeting Jessie/Damien made it a lot worse. Also, this is where 4chan gets involved. Damien believes that a classmate uploaded the video onto 4chan, who then brought a new wave of harassment towards the family. As Damien's family life got worse, so too with their school life, losing all of their friends, and eventually Damien would be removed from their dad and put into the foster care system, only returning back to their family after their dad died of a heart attack in 2011. Obviously, with time, the harassment would die down, but it would never really go away, and Damien would make a Tumblr where they helped others who suffered from cyberbullying.
Dirty Bomb Copy Pasta origin. So the first instance of the infamous Dirty Bomb copy pasta was posted on /b. Here's the copy pasta. On Sunday, October 22nd, 2006, there will be 7 dirty explosive devices detonated in 7 different US cities: Miami, New York City, Atlanta, Seattle, Houston, Oakland, and Cleveland. The death toll will approach 100,000 from the initial blasts, and countless other fatalities will later occur as a result from radioactive fallout. The bombs themselves will be delivered via trucks. These trucks will pull up to stadiums hosting NFL games in each respective city. All the stadiums to be targeted are open-air areas, excluding Atlanta's Georgia Dome, the only enclosed stadium to be hit. Due to the air, the radiological fallout will destroy those not killed in the initial explosion. The explosions will be near simultaneous, with the cities specifically chosen in different time zones to allow for multiple attacks at the same time. The 22nd of October will mark the final day of Ramadan, as it will fall in Mecca. Al-Qaeda will automatically be blamed for the attacks. Later, through Al Jazeera, Osama bin Laden will issue a video claiming responsibility for what he dubs America's Hiroshima. In the aftermath, civil wars will erupt across the world, both in the Middle East and within the United States. Global economies will screech to a halt. General chaos will rule. So this was spammed all around 4chan, and especially B. Eventually it did leave 4chan, and normal people who don't use 4chan were scared. Obviously so. The panic from the public caused the FBI to step in and investigate. They found the OP whose name was Jake J. Bram, and from what I understand, on June 13th, 2008 is when he was sentenced. He was also ordered in a New Jersey federal court to serve 6 months of house arrest following his incarceration. In addition, he was ordered to pay $18,000 in restitution to the Cleveland Browns football team and $8,750 to the New Jersey Sports and Exposition Authority, which operates in Giant Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. The money covers the reported costs the stadium incurred when they called in extra security, including bomb-sniffing dogs and extra law enforcement officers because of the hoax. So yeah, I believe that this was the first ever mass killing threat that appeared on 4chan. I don't think the guy actually planned on bombing the place.
Come artifacts. You could already tell where this is going from the title of this entry. I'm just gonna blast at you all the 4chan come artifacts that I could find. Firstly is Jesus Christ. We've already covered this, but if you didn't know, it was a guy who posted on /B starting in 2007, showing several 2-liter bottles filled with what presumably was human male reproductive matter, but later in 2018 he would reveal it was actually all just ginger beer and he had been trolling everyone. But he just wanted to keep the tradition going because he loved the community that surrounded it. MLP Jar Guy, or Ponycomb Jar Project. We've covered this before too. Everyone knows about this. This is the most popular jar income artifact. On November 27, 2014, a /MLP user would show a jar with a toy of Rainbow Dash in it, covered in human male reproductive matter. This would go viral, it'd become a meme. This guy would post updates from time to time. At one point, he accidentally left the jar on a radiator and it burned and it made an awful smell, and the project had to be restarted. He would do an interview with Wang in which he revealed he was like a watchmaker, and this would obviously evolve into the meme of putting characters in jars and the bad connotations that come with that. Mushroom socks. This one's a lot more simpler. This guy was cranking his shaft over some socks and he let that happen so long and just let it ferment that mushrooms started growing out of his socks. Someone in the thread would point out the specific type of mushroom it was, saying it was a basidiocarp, and pointing out that for that to have happened, he must have left his human reproductive material sock on the floor for months without doing anything about it. The Wasp Nut Jar Project. I honestly can't really explain anymore. It's literally just that. Anon had been putting wasps in a jar of human reproductive matter that he had made, and he also posted about watching the wasp disintegrate within the matter. There's a picture to accompany it. I hope you're enjoying the view of that. The Mercy Mouse Pad. Now, again, you could probably tell where this is going by the name. It is someone's Mercy Mouse Pad, the character from Overwatch, completely caked and covered in the man's human reproductive matter. At one point, he literally breaks a piece off. That's how thick it is. You get a 2-for-1 in this one because some other dude puts his human reproductive matter shirt on in the thread and takes a picture with it for everyone's enjoyment. The Anon, who, for lack of better words, glazed the Mercy mouse pad, also posted 2 more mouse pads and asked people within the thread which one should be his next one to cover. Lastly, and the most simple one, a thread would be created where Anon posted a picture of a mason jar, a minion from the popular Despicable Me series, and what is assumed to be human reproductive matter in the jar. There were no other results for this image being posted somewhere else, so it probably came from with this thread. And OP would say, Anon's I'm at day 6 of the Minion Cum Jar project. The cum finally reached the wider part now. The filling will only accelerate now. I hope you enjoyed me finding these.
guy who bought the original Sonichu Medalion. On August of 2008, an Anon on 4chan's V board offered a story and photograph suggesting that he had met Chris Chan in real life. I would assume you guys know who Chris Chan is. We also had an entry about him on the original 4chan ICEBERG. Check that out. And in that story, he claimed that he met Chris in real life and tricked him into giving him the medallion. However, Anons on 4chan all immediately analyzed the details from the dozen of pictures that they have saved and determined that he quote-unquote stole quote-unquote the stolen medallion to be a forgery. This was reaffirmed by Chris himself. He decided to post a video announcing that the medallion was never stolen, claiming that no one would ever take it from him. Although I don't know how true that is. If I remember correctly, on the Gino Samuel documentary, he mentioned that they did. I don't know if it was him actually. In a video I saw somewhere, they mentioned. I forgot the video. Sorry, that they mentioned that the guy actually did take the medallion, and Chris just made another one. So yeah, I don't know how true this is. It could be true, could be fake. I don't know.
Intruder image's origin. Also known as the Albanian or the creepy hooded guy, the image seems to have first popped up online on 4chan on July 11, 2010 in the Traditional Games Board /TG with the following post. Here's the bomb I'm about to drop. This image here, I cannot stare at it for more than a few moments. It haunts my brain. Even now, just choosing the file from a bunch of thumbnails, I can see this at 100% zoom. I don't know why, but it's wrong. This image is wrong. What it portrays just, I don't know, it scares me on a primal level. I cannot explain. Way deep down, a part of my animal self tells me that it wants to hurt me or is about to attack me. I just can't explain it. Official source is that it's just a really horrible police crime suspect recreation drawing from witness description, but it is still terrifying to me for a reason I can't explain. I hope you feel the same horror I do. Good luck. I'm out of this thread now. But after that, the image would only see occasional use till 2015. But before I get to that, I should talk about the origin of the image. It seems that it's actually from a police sketch from a burglary and assault that occurred in 2007 in Kirkwood, Missouri. And there's a screenshot of the news article. Anyways, use of the image would increase when an Anon from Albania posted it on /poll, or politically incorrect. And users on poll started to use it as a meme. From there, it made its way to the Russian 2channel board, where a creepy story would be created around the image and it would gain the nickname the Albanian, because the Russian Anons thought the origin was from the Albanian poster on poll. Slowly over time, after the users from poll and /x would slowly start making memes out of the image, and it would lose its scary factor. But in 2021, the popular analog horror series, The Mandela Catalog, would use the image of the Albanian in The Mandela Catalog Volume 1, where it would be labeled as the Intruder, and once again the image would rise in prominence. This once again removed its scary context and people started making memes of the Intruder.
Layer 5. Anhero meme. I don't know if I would call this a meme since the origin is pretty fucked up, but 4chan does call it a meme. So 7th grader Mitchell Henderson committed word puzzle. An article by the New York Times magazine from 2008 claims that no one really knows the reason why he committed that. Encyclopedia Dramatica says that his dad was a PDF file and would sexually assault him, and more messed up things, but I don't believe that this is true. The dad did eventually deny all those allegations. His classmates made a memorial for him on MySpace, with one person leaving a heartfelt message about him, but instead of using a hero, they used an hero throughout their message. Somehow someone from B found out about the page and decided to share it on B. When the people who used B looked through both the memorial page and his personal page, they saw something about a lost iPod and also paid attention to the person that used N instead of A. The people from B then decided that he committed word puzzle because he had lost his iPod, and thus the N hero saying was born. People on B speculated that he committed word puzzle because his dad sexually assaulted him, but we don't really know. Eventually the words N hero turned into a synonym for word puzzle /Sudoku / I assume you get what I mean. People would also harass Mitchell's parents by calling them and being extremely disrespectful. They did stuff like pretending to be his ghost and to be let into their house. This apparently only lasted about a year and a half. Also, someone decided to go to his grave and leave an iPod on it, and took a picture and posted it. So yeah, this is just people being pieces of shit.
Sarah Palin email hack. On September 16, 2008, on the /B board of 4chan, a hacker known as Rubico would post on 4chan that he had gone into Sarah Palin's Yahoo email. The hacker's reasoning was in hopes of finding something that would derail Palin's campaign, but in the end, nothing was found. The way the hacker got into the email was by using the password recovery feature for the email, and by looking up her personal info on Wikipedia. He looked up her date of birth and got into the account after changing the password to popcorn. On 4chan, Rubico would clarify why he did this and also posted the password to the email account. He also posted screenshots from his time logged into the account on WikiLeaks. Another Anon from B would actually do something unexpected, getting into the account before other people and changing the password in an attempt to not let others log into the account. This Anon also managed to email one of Palin's friends, letting them know about the leaked password situation. He confirmed this by posting a screenshot of him doing so in the thread. Stupidly, he also kept the changed password in the screenshot so people could have just gotten back in, but luckily for Sarah Palin, the account had been locked down by Yahoo. A lot of Anons from B were not happy about this, and obviously did not have good words to say to that Anon that white knighted for Sarah Palin. While this was happening, Rubico posted that he believed he would be safe from being detected by the FBI, saying that he used one proxy while doing this, then deleted everything and disconnected his internet. Unfortunately for Rubico, the FBI still ended up finding out who he was, and that was the son of the, at that time, Democratic State Representative of Memphis, Mike Colonel, and Rubico's real name was David Colonel. For getting into Sarah Palin's account, he would be found guilty of hacking and be sentenced to serve 1 year in federal custody in a minimum security prison in Kentucky, as well as 3 years of supervised release, of which he only served 10 months in prison. He was in college while he did the hacking, attending UT Knoxville, and funnily enough, after serving, he got right back on the grind and even graduated from that school with an economics degree. Unfortunately for David Colonel and his family, David would pass away when he was 30 due to complications related to progressive multiple sclerosis, something he suffered with his whole life. One funny thing about this though was that Moot, the founder of 4chan, had to go to testify in court and had to explain what Rickrolling, 404, OP, Lurker, and B-Tard meant.
/B Day. So this refers to the time in 2006 when Moot, the owner of 4chan at the time, in a justifiable fit of anger, posted a sticky, which is now referenced as the Bob Ross sticky, because he used an image of Bob Ross, announcing that anyone who posted illegal content will get you permabanned and possibly arrested, and that even people who replied to those illegal threads will receive a 2-week global ban. The definition of illegal threads referred to CP, jailbait, personal info, and raids, which at the time, B did a lot. This led to a massive outcry for some reason, which I don't really understand because it's pretty fucked up things to do. It was quote unquote a policy that was technically introducing rules to B, even though at the time B had quote unquote no rules. So this would eventually lead to angry people from B would cause 4chan to crash, and leaving 14 boards, including B and 13 others, to be inaccessible. A civil war basically broke out, with many people from B leaving B entirely and going to places like 7chan, 2chan, and 420chan. So yeah, Moot eventually caved for some reason and took the policy back, but it did eventually return only 2 days later.
Fit trolls journalist about Elliot Rogers. First things first, no, it wasn't actually 4chan Fit who trolled the journalist into thinking using creatine caused a intense virgin rage, which was one of the things that led to Elliot Rogers to shoot up UCSB, which led to the untimely deaths of 6 people. It was actually the bodybuilding message board FitMisk, which is now shut down. Now, could the user from FitMisk have used Fit? Probably, but for the most part, as far as I could find online, this is accredited to FitMisk. But the image you're actually seeing from the video is actual reactions of people from Fit reacting to that troll. The way this all started is that a journalist was messaging everyone that was friends on Facebook with Elliot Rogers after his attack. The reporter, Emma Foster, would come in contact with the troll, who went by Chris Akin, who suggested that Elliot began experiencing some sort of rage after he began taking creatine because of supposed obsession Elliot had with bodybuilding. There were 2 other incidents that the troll described, and one was the death of a made-up person named Hugh Whatmate, who died in a tragic squatting accident, in which Hugh had his head crushed by an Olympic bar while attempting a 350 kilogram squat, 250 more than the other guy mentioned on this iceberg, by the way, and if you want to know, that comes out to about 771.6 pounds. The other thing Chris mentioned was the constant trolling that Elliot supposedly suffered on the bodybuilding.com forums, via a mod on the forums called Puniceps, and also the trolling of an online bodybuilding influencer named Jason Genova. Chris Akin would message all of this to Emma Foster on the 24th of May in 2014, and 4 days later, the thread of 4chan being worried that creatine would be banned and laughing at the troll would go live. They would find Hugh Whatmate's Facebook page and started laughing at the news outlets that reported all this stuff as true, with some physical newspapers covering this aspect of the shooting, completely unaware that it was all a trolling. Some of those publications were the Mirror, the Daily Mail, and the New York Post. Anyway, if you're wondering, nothing the troll said was true, and no, creatine doesn't make you angrier. It just helps your muscles absorb more water and is relatively harmless, except in very rare cases where it might cause hair loss. The hair loss topic is still being debated, so yeah.
Layer 6. Mike Chitwood threats. So back in February 2023, Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood publicly denounced the Go Yim Defense League, a white supremacist hate group in Florida, after the group attempted to publicly dispute anti-Semitic literature. This made /poll members mad, and some would threaten to kill him. The first /poll user would be a guy named Richard Goldham from Monmouth Junction, New Jersey. He would write this on 4chan. Just shoot Chitwood in the head, and he stops being a problem. They have to find a new guy to be the problem, but shooting Chitwood in the head solves an immediate problem, permanently. Just shoot Chitwood in the head and murder him. In Minecraft. He was arrested and charged on March 6th in New Jersey, and the charge was making a written threat to kill or do bodily injury. The next guy was Tyler Mayer from San Diego, California, who posted this on 4chan. It's too bad. Mike Chitwood isn't safe. Now that I'm planning to kill him, I'm going to shoot Mike Chitwood. I'm going to kill him by shooting him in the head. He was also arrested and charged. He was arrested March 31st by San Diego police, and the charge was making a written threat to kill or do bodily harm. After him was Christian Zapata from Ansonia, Connecticut, who posted this. I will kill Chitwood. Mark my words. He was also arrested and charged by Shelton police. He was charged with the same thing, written threat to kill or do bodily harm. There was also a fourth guy named Tony Stromberg from Calgary, Alberta, in Canada, that threatened to kill Mike, but that didn't happen on 4chan, rather through Twitter, emails, and phone calls, but he also got arrested.
Zippo Cat. Concept warning for anyone here who gets seriously messed up with animal abuse. And just skip this whole thing if you really do not like animal abuse, because this thing is really messed up. So yeah, this is in reference to a video of what seems like a 5-week-old cat being set on fire with a Zippo lighter after being doused in lighter fluid. The video was posted on a forum called Ogreish. The video would be deleted after being up for a while, and the person who abused the cat would end up being found by the other forum's users, and his info was sent to the police, in which it was found that the person who did this was a 26-year-old from Belgium, and the person who posted this online was a 13-year-old friend of the guy, and both were arrested. While the video is still out there and used as a shock video, what's more common is a 15-panel comic from frames of the video showing what happened to the kitten, and that's what Zippo Cat specifically refers to. The way 4chan is tied into this is that it's simply by the fact that this was posted in Catterday threads as a way to troll. Obviously, with how much 4chan loves cats, people really did not like seeing this post, and post/threads depicting this image would usually very quickly be deleted.
TYVD, or Take Your Vitamin D. This refers to a story from /fit on 4chan. Take Your Vitamin D was a trip code user that many Anons on Fit would come to trust due to his vitamin information. Many thought that he was a health professional, and that's the reason why he knew a lot about vitamins. Take Your Vitamin D would eventually post his vitamin stack, which was what he personally took, and another Anon would end up seeing that post and he would copy it, but with some modifications. That Anon would later be known as the Vitamin Avenger. The Vitamin Avenger would triple the amounts that Take Your Vitamin D was already taking, and mind you that Take Your Vitamin D was already basically taking the max amount that humans should take. Anyways, on March 7th, 2010, Take Your Vitamin D posts this. Just knowing that my advice killed that boy fills every cell in my body with an absolute uncontrollable, erotic electricity. Thinking about him lying on his hospital bed, the whites of his eyes yellowing with jaundice, as his liver fails, causes my penis to engorge with blood. It fills the very air around me with the powerful pheromone of lust. I fondle myself as I imagine him, helpless, weakly sucking on a few small ice chips to distract him from the unquenchable thirst of kidney failure. His sobbing mother, powerless at his side. I actually got myself under control, suppressed my mad animal lust just long enough to linger by his bedside. I stood over him, breathing heavily, drenched in sweat, playing out all kinds of erotic, sadistic fantasies in my mind. I fondle his IV drip bag like some sort of erotic device. This boy's liver is failing, his kidneys turned to calcified paperweights. Nobody will doubt my power of supplements now. I can't help but drip sweat onto his sheets. I have to leave. I'm losing control of myself. My pants are soaked through the erotic juices as they seep with my straining, yearning penis. I pop a few niacinamide to help keep my cool, ghost down to the hospital cafeteria to try to conceal my erection while imagining them wheeling his lifeless body away. How does it feel to kill a boy with my supplement advice? It feels like his soul is trapped on this earth, giving me a blowjob for all eternity. Then between those dates, this rage comic was posted, and it is basically chronicling what it was said to happen to the anonymous user, claiming that he had died, and in the earlier Take Your Vitamin D posts, it says he died due to jaundice. The rage comic says it was due to vitamin K, but other Anons on Fit would say that it was other vitamins that caused it. I did look through Fit all the way back to 2012. That's the furthest I could go, and many did say it was like vitamin A, Kalium, and some other things. I will say I did make a video about this event. If you guys want to check it out, I did it just so I don't have to talk about it a lot on the iceberg. Read posts. Yo, VA, when your liver got fucked up and you turned yellow, did you become normal after you got better, or are you like the guy in Sin City? My liver functions at 20% now. I have weekly blood transfusions, have dialysis once a fortnight, and acetylcysteine injections every day. I have no sexual function anymore, constant nausea, weakness, jaundice, and blood in my stools caused from internal colon hemorrhaging. Needless to say, I can't lift or do cardio. My life expectancy is probably less than a decade. My life is literally fucked, full of pain, and I probably won't live to see 30. But I won't stop or give up. I won't lay down and go easy. I have nothing, but sometimes nothing is worth fighting for. If I see Tiny Trip posting one more thread about how fucked his life is, I swear I'll fly to Brixton and strangle him with my bare hands. So just to let you know, Tiny Trip was another trip code user from that time, along with Cold, who is someone later on the iceberg. This whole story would eventually become a creepypasta, or at least I could find mentions that it did become a creepypasta on the archived websites I used, and the closest thing I could find to that is this. Oh baby, this is my favorite /fit story. Legend says, one day, Take Your Vitamin D, an older trip who knew everything about supplements, posted his daily supplement stack. The list went on for about 3 posts. It was that long. Some idiot kid read it and decided to copy it, which would have been fine, except he added a megadose of vitamin K. If you don't know, vitamin K is something that has to be taken in very precise amounts or your body fucks up and you will probably die. The kid took a shit ton. He nearly died. He posted a few months later about how he's effectively disabled. He needs daily kidney dialysis, takes pills all day every day, needs to go to the hospital every few weeks to do some more dialysis or something. This obviously fucks him up mentally, and he blames Take Your Vitamin D for his situation, and trips as Vitamin Avenger in a few posts, vows to kill him, A few months later, Take Your Vitamin D stops posting. This is all that's concrete about Vitamin Avenger. It's probable that nothing really happened, and Take Your Vitamin D just left 4chan. But legend says that he was killed by Vitamin Avenger. Now Artel leaves Vitamin Avenger and the Trip friends, and visits Archive Guy. One day, anonymous. This is important. This guy was not tripping, nor was he a name friend. Posts in a current body thread. Doesn't post a face, just his body. The thread carries on for a while longer, until another guy replies to this, Anon, with the post, "You looked better a few months ago," and a picture of this guy from just a few months ago. Remember, this guy was not tripping. He had not referenced his last picture in any way. Archive Guy just recognized him from a picture he had saved from some random current body threads months ago. /fit flips out about this. It turns out that guy has been saving every picture of all Anons he could get his paws on for a while. It's unclear if he's doing this manually, or if he has some program that saves all images posted on /fit. Meanwhile, other Trip friends mysteriously stopped posting. Some we find out have died. Cold and Jojen are among them. At first, we assumed Cold committed suicide. Then we remembered Vitamin Avenger. Is he meting out a vengeance on all Trip friends? No one knows. All we know is that Trip friends on /fit are very short-lived. Do they all die in saunas? Do flames that burn twice as bright really just burn out twice as fast? No one knows. But Super Mutant has been run over twice, and Atiwab hasn't been seen in a while. Eventually these two legends merged. Some people think Vitamin Avenger and Archive Guy are the same person. Me? I don't know what to believe. But I have to go see a chimp about a barbell. I'll see you soon, Anon. Very soon. And I'm not sure if this is an elaborate troll or an actual thing that happened to an Anon, but like I said, I did make a video about this last month, June 2024. I'm going a bit more in depth if you're interested. So yeah, check it out. Shameless plug, right?
Dutch Anon's threats. On April 20th, 2013, a thread would be created by an Anon, who would be threatening to shoot up a school the next day in Leiden, a Dutch city in the Netherlands. OP says he plans on targeting their Dutch teacher and students of the school. While no specific school was named, the OP did show the weapon he planned on committing the shooting with, a 9mm Colt Defender. OP also explained that on his person he would have a note explaining why he planned an attack on the staff and students, saying also that if the news never released his message, he would have a friend post it for him on 4chan the day after the attack. OP ends the post by saying, "Oh, and I'm using a proxy. The police is not gonna find me before tomorrow." Well, fortunately for everyone else, the post would go noticed by the Swiss police, and in response, 22 schools would be shut down on the said day of the attack, and a suspect would be arrested and brought in by the police. The suspect was a former student of a British school who attended a senior school in the town of Voorschoten, which is nearby to Leiden, who left the school in 2011 due to inappropriate behavior. Publicly, that's all that's known about the case.
Layer 7. Trip code user, Cold. So I was trying to make a video about this guy, like I did the others, but I just couldn't think of a way to do that, so this is probably all you're gonna get about him. Cold was a trip code that 18-year-old Alex S. O'Reilly would use, and he would post regularly on /fit around the same time as Take Your Vitamin D and Shizzy. He also allegedly committed word puzzle. Also, he's part of the Vitamin Avenger creepypasta, which mentions that Vitamin Avenger was the one who killed Cold, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that isn't a real thing that happened, as well as the story. But yeah, P.S. Cold isn't a good person, so I don't feel bad for him. And if he did commit word puzzle, I don't feel bad. Cold would post pictures similarly to Shizzy, shirtless, half naked, etc. But instead of just like doing it outside, he posted them in a really creepy windowless room. He would also post CP and links to CP, and he would also have a 14-year-old girlfriend. And in addition to posting CP, he would also post stories about him and his victim. Eventually, Anons would get tired of him posting CP and would try to dox him. At first, they could only find his name and that he might be from New Zealand. A lot of these threats would end up failing, but he would eventually post a very terrible picture, according to Encyclopedia Dramatica, And I won't try to find it. I won't try to look for it. If I did end up finding it, I still wouldn't post it on the video. But yeah, this caused many people to actually start looking for him. And they started a thread with a link to New Zealand authorities for reporting child abuse. Many Anons decided to help and submit whatever they had on Cold, along with pictures of him and screenshots of the CP he posted. After that, Cold wouldn't be heard from for several weeks, but one day he would hop on a feels thread after drinking 3 bottles of alcohol. He claimed that his liver hurt, and the weirdos that actually liked him would show concern, but that was a very small amount of people, and all the other Anons that disliked him said that he should keep on drinking to drink himself to death. This would appear to be his last sign until April 5th of 2012, where there was many Facebook posts about him claiming that he had died and that, etc. And yeah, after those Facebook posts, many Anons would be happy that he seemed to have died / commit word puzzle. But there is another theory that he faked his own death and that he's now on the run from the authorities.
Anon gasses himself. On September 2017, on the 18th of the month, on the weapons board /K, a thread would be created with OP writing, "About to test out this gas mask." Accompanying the post was a picture of a gas mask, 2 bottles of pure white vinegar, and a bottle of bleach. Many already seeing where this was going would be waiting to see if OP would deliver, and he would post a picture of himself pouring the vinegar into a bottle cup of bleach in his bathroom on the edge of the tub. OP would shortly thereafter post, "I'm pretty sure it's working. My arm is starting to feel sunburnt though." In response, Anons would ask for pics, and OP replies showing his arm. You can see his forearm, now completely red. Strangely enough, his hand stayed the same color. I feel like at this time it's good to explain what Anon has done, and that is OP made chlorine gas. And as other Anons point out in this thread, why doing so and only having a gas mask was a mistake. You fucking fool. That will also burn your skin and soak into your surroundings. Legit question. Please tell me you don't have an apartment / pets or roommates. Depending on your mixture, you just fucked up big time. Let's just say you only made 4 ounces of gas. That comes out to 29,962 parts per million. Concentrations of about 400 parts per million and beyond are generally fatal over 30 minutes. At 1,000 parts per minute and above, fatality ensues within only a few minutes. Congrats, OP. You're gonna figure out what the afterlife is like. OP would end up posting 2 more pictures of showing his arm slowly peeling and getting redder, and that would be the last time OP would update the thread, with many assuming OP was now killed, due to his own negligence, with chlorine gas. As another Anon would post, the gas mask would not be any help in this situation. Makes none, sadly. He's dead. It absorbs through your skin, into your bloodstream. He's dead. There's a reason why we're issued hazmat suits and do drills for just normal gas. This dumb fuck made about 4 ounces in a confined space that makes over 29,000 parts per million. Normal gas shells would expel about 400 parts per million, giving us 60 seconds to get into our suits or die. Others do point out that this could have been faked with makeup, so it could all be an elaborate troll. Others point out OP could have simply left the room in time only to be heavily injured, and that him dying is the worst case scenario. Some Anons from the thread were saying that OP was from Canada, and I went googling for incidents involving chlorine gas in 2017, but I couldn't find anything that matched up with what happened in the thread.
Drap I Sandnes. This is a reference to a case in Norway where a 4chan user would post cryptic things throughout December of 2018, claiming that you won't want to miss this, and would post a date and time. Then on December 23rd, I assume it was the 24th in Norway, that same Anon would come back and say this. RSU's recording one from the other video. I will say I already made a separate video about this event, just so this iceberg wouldn't be too long. For some reason I did the Take Your Vitamin D video. That video goes more in depth about the original thread and just the whole event in general. Check it out, and that should be linked in the description. Same with your Take Your Vitamin D video. This would eventually turn into the OP killing his father with a fire extinguisher. Many people on the original thread would think that this was a troll, and that the picture he posted with the body of his father and the fire extinguisher right next to his head that he used to kill him was fake. No concrete evidence that this was real was said in the original thread, except that the archive website I used, which was archive.mo, had a feature that would let people post on the thread, even though it was archived. I'm pretty sure that's the case, because the later posts on that website looked different, and some posts were from 2019 and 2020. So yeah, some Anons towards the end of that thread, after it was archived, said that this was real and it happened in Norway. And if you want more information, to Google Drap I Sandnes. And that's what I did. So I googled it, and at first I was confused because I don't speak Norwegian, and it was just really hard to traverse the sites due to the ads and like saying to make an account. But I did eventually find one, thanks to Google Translate, which let me see the article without having to make an account. I used nrk.no, and that article at the beginning says this: announced the murder of the father an hour and a half in advance. The 27-year-old wrote on the online forum that he was going to kill his father after drinking 2 beers, and an hour and 40 minutes later, he published a bloody picture from the scene. That's where I'll end this entry. There is more to it, but you gotta check that video out. I uploaded it if you want to know more. Lamau. Sorry, not really. We're trying to pay university, so yeah. Hey, what's up guys, it's Aris, one half of the Horror Highway. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. It'd really help us in the algorithm. Sorry if you didn't like us, specifically me, shouting out other videos so you can check out. But yeah, I really don't know. I hope you have a good day, and yeah, bye.